Remember that upside point. Alright, so the first thing I want to introduce here before we start doing arrangements, right? We want to understand what does factorial mean. So if you see that symbol there, factorial, what it means is that we have to multiply all the integers from 1 until we reach until we end.
We know some of this, right?
Yeah.
Secret stuff. What we did the last Saturday, last class. Which is right?
Yeah, finish medicine.
Alright,
Right? What? Wow. So for example 4 factorial is what? 4 factorial will be 1 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 3, all the integers from 1 until you reach 4. That's okay? You can write it like that or the other way around, it's up to you. Right? So therefore 4 factorial is 12 by 2 is 24. If you go to a calculator, you will see the factorial symbol. Go to the calculator and press 4 factorial.
Yeah, no more. Yeah.
Right, let's go factorial, that's the exclamation mark, and put 4 factorial. But again, 4 factorial 24, right? So I just want to make sure that you all can handle factorial. Nice. Do me a favor in a calculator. Tell me what is 3 factorial multiplied by. Alright, now let's do a divide. Divide by 2 factorial. Without a calculator, sorry, I said the wrong thing. Without a calculator, simplify it. Without a calculator, simplify it, then use a calculator and see if you get it right. Right? So what does 3 factorial give you? 3 factorial is 1 by 2 by 3. 2 factorial is 1 by 2. Right? 1 by 2 will cancel and you'll end up with 3. Right? Question. Can I write 3 factorial in terms of 2 factorial? Yeah? What is 1 by 2? 1 by 2 is 2 factorial, right? So I could also write 3 factorial over 2 factorial as 2 factorial multiplied by 3 all over 2 factorial. This will cancel and I'll have 3. All right. So there's a rule. There's a couple of rules that I wanted to learn. Number 1, you know what n factorial is, right? 1 by 2 by right? Right, that's n factorial. Nice, good. What do you think this is here? And I am using what we learned here, right? What do you think is n multiplied by n minus 1 factorial? What do you think is n multiplied by n minus 1 factorial? And I try to show you here. Right here. Any ideas? Remember what we said here. We said that 3 factorial is equal to 2 factorial multiplied by 3. Everybody okay with that? So my question is, what do you think is n multiplied by n minus 1? Sorry, factorial. Great. Stay all together. What do you think is n multiplied by n minus 1 factorial? N factorial. You're seeing that? This is n minus 1 factorial by n, right? So therefore, the answer should be n factorial. All right, hello? Yeah? So, what you see, right? So the rule is that. What you see? How can I write 5 factorial? And I could write 4 factorial multiplied by 5. And this is n. This is also n. And this is 1 less than n. So this is. So whenever I multiply these two, again this. That's okay?
No.
Everybody okay with that? Right? What about this? What about n factorial divided by n minus 1? What will that be? And the other way around, n factorial divided by, sorry, I meant n. What do you think is 3 and 4? So n factorial over n is what? N minus 1 factorial. Who lost? Well, again, lost. Right? So what will be this one here? N factorial over n. Write down what you learned about n factorial.
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Right? Write down what you learned about n factorial, which is n. Right? And then divided by n. What will happen?
Yeah.
So your answer is, do this please. Do this here please. Yes, so. Pretext use. What's number 4 here? Number 4 is n. Anybody else agree with that? Yeah. N? Are you sure? Guys, very good. N. Copy it down. Anybody lost? I'm going to make it harder. Well, going to get a little bit harder, all right? Anybody lost? So for those who now come from Sweat Technical, just copy down this way. That's the rule we're using. Right. Here's what I'd like you to do for me, right? I would like you to same using any one of the rules. I would like you to tell me what is n minus r
The R for
the next variable. Right. Let's say we have something like n minus r. Let's say we have something like that, n minus r factorial. Can you use rule number 2 and tell me what this might be equal to? Can you use rule number 2 and tell me what this might be equal to? Using rule 2, right? Try first. I'll tell it right. I'll pass on to watch. The back at rule number 2. So fast. Right? Use rule number 2 and let's see what you get. Right, question. What is it? So if you look at it there, right? If you look at n factorial is equal to this, right? What is the term just before n? So that's why we have n minus 1 factorial by n, right? What is the term just before n minus r? N minus r minus 1, right? By n minus r. So these two are equal. This is like n. This is like n minus 1. And this is like n. You not seeing that? All right, so what you see? Let's just say I made a substitution, right? Let's just say I made a substitution. All right? And I let n equal to n minus r. You want to change the letters? All right, let me change the letter. What is a plus b factorial? Okay. Let's say I use the rule n factorial is equal to n minus 1 factorial by n. What will be this n, right? So I put it n as a plus b. N is a plus b. Right? So I use it n as a plus b minus 1 by n is what? Same concept here. But I use it n and r because those are the letters that we're going to be using all the time. Okay? Are you okay with that? So n minus r factorial is the same as n minus r minus 1 factorial by n minus r. Right? There's a reason I'm using these letters, and I'll show you in a little while, right? Everybody okay with that? Huh? No, what time? Half 6. You all don't have to go till 7 o'clock as yet. Huh? Well, they'll finish some today now. Oh, probably. Right now. So it's good. No one has.
I mentioned with plus of 7, so it's 1 hour, so it's.
That's
One time, the local of W up or down.
I was thinking about it. Yeah.
So like the
So like n factorial is like 4 factorial, right? 4 factorial is the same as 3 factorial. Or like 4. So if all these other terms will be 4n factorial, right? So like if you have 4 factorial, that's 1 by 2 by 3 by 4. This is 3 factorial. So it's always n factorial is n minus 1 by n. Because this is n.
And it's on.
N minus 1 is 3.
Understand.
Right, before I lose it again, I'm gonna give you a quick one. Alright, what is here? So sometimes we're going to have to learn to simplify questions, right? So let's see if we could use what we learned here to simplify something like this. Let's start real easy, right? I want to make sure feet can straight over. No, I just saying. I just want to make sure that you. Right. Let's say I gave you something like that. And I said, well, feet, right? Help me simplify something like that. What do we normally do if we have 2 fractions? LCM, right? Find the LCM and get 1 fraction, right? So what will be the LCM here? Right? Just a quick question. If I have 5 here and I have 20 here, go multiply them, huh? And I have 15 here and 4. What will be the multiples to use here? And I can use 20 and 15. And I can use that 20 and 15. Everybody okay with that? I'm using the larger products, right? Yeah. So everybody okay with that? Right. Let's come here now. What will you use in the denominator, Yash? What will you use in the denominator here? Like he wasn't paying attention. Help him there. Which is larger? Which is larger? R factorial or R minus 1? Which is larger? N factorial or N minus 1? Right. Now, what we have to do? Multiply this by this. Anybody lost? Yeah? So I'm multiplying this by this. help me out here. What is this by this? This by this whole thing, huh? What is this by this here? Yeah, well, that on that. Yeah, why simplify, sir? Right, simplified from a. Why is this by this? What will happen with the r factorials? What n factorial divided by n minus 1 factorial? Y'all see enough? Y'all see enough? And lastly, what is this by same thing? The n factorial cancel and you'll get that's okay? That's the way you simplify here to here. Everybody okay with that? Copy it down. I'm gonna give you one. Yes, ma'am. Right, try and simplify number 2 and let's bring it together, right?
Everything number of the opportunity lines. I don't know. Exactly now. Go one time to get it on. On the right line. Right side. Be drawn. That's.
Right feet, where you end up with? You all done? Right, again, pick out which factor is larger and then work it out.
What's the other factor?
That's all right.
You have a number, right?
That's one from it. Oh.
The same thing is look at here. Which is bigger, r factorial or r minus one?
R minus.
Right, what?
No. So we have one or
Right, which is larger, online, follow okay? Online, you're getting through? Right, and as partner, while it's paying, right, I've been not in Moodle, pay email. Everybody here Moodle? No.
You need to fix something.
No.
No.
He wants.
It has four.
Create new shells to make. New shells, so like your and done new shell. Right, yeah. Which is larger? R minus one factorial R. Which is larger? N minus R factorial or this? Right now, when I multiply this by this, I'll get R, right? This will cancel and I'll get R. When I multiply this by this, I will get N minus R. Okay, the R's will cancel. The R's will cancel. So your final answer is N over. Right? Right, so you're simply picking out which is larger and then multiply the denominator by both fractions. Any questions, Olia? Darren, any questions? Online, any questions? Hi, Phil.
Either.
Daria, any questions? All okay? All okay? I'll add on one more part and then bring it all together, right?
Yeah, boy. I like me. Yeah, it's not number one.
What's that?
NCR.
Well, it's technically from module two. You're supposed to know the module two before that. Anyway, yes, yeah.
Is it what you want to?
Yeah. And demo. Alright, watch here now. So what we have to learn to do now is we have to understand what this expression means. If you go to calculator, right? I think we did this in module one, and you had to find things like this: 5C2. Right? Go to calculator. Well, what was 5C2? Go back to calculator and tell me what is 5C2. 10, right? So we're looking at this. So we know that 5C2 is 10. Everybody okay with that? Right. NCR is really this. The way they got that value 10 is that NCR is really n factorial divided by n minus r factorial by r factorial. So this formula here is equal to this. So for example, if I ask you to find 5C2, you could write 5 factorial divided by 5 minus 2 factorial by 2 factorial. This is 5 factorial over 3 factorial by 2 factorial.
I don't know.
Right? What is equal to? Right? If you work out this, 5 factorial is how much again? 120. Check and see. And 3 factorial is 6, and this is 2. So you'll get 10 as the answer. That's okay? So this simple value came from all of this. That's okay? All right, sir. So you have to learn this formula for NCR. Well, not learn this, give it to you. Right? But you have to be able to manipulate this formula. So if I ask for 5C2, N is 5, R is 2. And that's substitute and work it out. But the problem is there's add these things. And that's why we're moving on to. Previous here. Do me a favor now. Work out 6C3. Work out number 2 and number 3, please. Work out number 2 and number 3.
Like it on website. Website. It's a link. We sent new stuff.
Right, work out, excuse me, block them out. Work out 6, work out number 2 and 3, please. I work out number 2 and 3, you can't put number 3 in the calculator. That's good. Do up. Right. Right, online, let people online send anything, no responses, nothing. Nothing from online.
Yeah.
Kalina, are you okay? Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do that in detail because sometimes there's come, like, what I'm building up to. Right? What I'm building up to. Now this is come, not sure you just come again. The next question is what is going to come, where combine.
Yes.
Mom, well, when this combines, you will see what the question look like just now. I'm trying to get, I don't have much on one past paper, it's one and two part. See. Um, Ready? Right, she should be done with the first one. That's 6 factorial over 3 factorial, 3 factorial, right? 6 will be what? 720 over 6 by 6, so that's 20. 20. Right. So here's the mess. Oh, hurry up, finish up number 3. Nah, that's it. Yes, sir. Your internet connection.
Is it just not this our this is in our.
Yeah. Right, so you should have something like this. N factorial all over. Right, what you see? R is now what?
R.
So you have to put N minus open bracket. R minus what? Close brackets. Because R is R minus 1. Right? Factorial by R minus 1. So your final answer will not be minus, it will be what? Plus. So it will be N minus R plus 1 factorial by R minus 1 factorial. Question: what is the term before this? What is the term? Very good. I just making a note here because I want you to be able to see it, right? N minus R plus 1 factorial is the same as N minus R factorial by N minus R plus 1. Okay? So the term before plus 1 is minus that, right? If you minus 1 from this, you'll get it. So the term before it now. Okay? So I want you just to remember that, right? Yeah. Can't go further than that.
You can add these rules before.
Pardon me, sir?
You can add all these rules at the same time, not a next rule say.
So, sir, I have to go through one. I have to show you where the rule comes from. I have to show you where the rule comes from. Right? And now to satisfy faith, I want to show you why we're doing all of this. Ready? Let's combine everything now. Let's combine all these rules into one. Right? So I want you to simplify. I want to erase from here, right? Anybody writing here? Darian? Anybody writing here? No, just right. I want to rub it off. Simplify as far as possible. As I said, I don't really have much of these.
With.
Simplify number one, number two, as far as possible. Go ahead, have fun. I can in terms of NCR, right? All your answers should be in terms of NCR. She didn't have any factor in your final answer. Final answer should have no factor. Oh, yeah.
No, well. She understand.
Number one, okay, you want the answer? Let's see. So n factorial divided by n minus, you must put in bracket, by n minus r factorial. Right? You'll get n factorial when you expand out here, n minus n plus r factorial by n minus r. The n's will cancel, so you'll get n factorial over r factorial by n minus r. This is what? This is NCR. And look at rule number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? Look at rule number 5. So now you have to do the same thing there. But I give it 2 terms. And you should get something in terms of NCR. Go ahead, have fun. This combines every single thing we learned today. N minus n is 0.
Yeah.
I get it. No.
Yeah. 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 Right.
Right? So watch this here. We have n minus 1 factorial over n minus 1 minus r minus 1 all factorial by r minus 1 factorial plus n minus 1 factorial over n minus 1 minus r factorial by r factorial. Right? By just substituting n minus 1 on this, the formula should look like this, right? I'm just going to simplify here a little bit. I have n minus 1 factorial factorial all over n minus r factorial by r minus 1 factorial. Everybody okay with that? This becomes this, right? Because the ones will cancel. Here we have n minus 1 factorial over. I like to put the minus 1 on the end. So n minus r minus 1 factorial by r factorial. So now I have this to deal with. What's the next step? LCM, right? I saw one person reach somewhere, but he forgot this on top. The example I gave you had a 1, right? This one has n minus 1 factorial. Don't forget it, right? Don't forget to include that. Go ahead. Anybody think they have it? Huh? It's supposed to be into the NCR. Yeah. I want to see final class. This is fun. This is fun. But I do that. No, it's not. No. Right, I need to get the device. No.
Okay.
That. Right, one person will have it. Yeah, sorry, I'm okay.
I said so. No.
Goodbye.
Anybody have it online? Right. So I'm just making sure you all have this line properly. You'd recognize that between these two, n minus r factorial is larger. Between these two, r factorial is larger. Now we're going to multiply this whole fraction by n minus r factorial by r factorial. The n minus r factorial cancel. And what is r factorial divided by r minus 1 factorial? R. And don't forget this. Do the same thing here. Do the same thing here. Multiply this. The R will cancel, and you'll get this divided by this, which is n minus r. And don't forget the n minus 1 factorial. How do I simplify the numerator? I am going to have to get rid of. I'm going to factor out n minus 1. Okay? So I'm going to factor out. I'm back here, right? I'm coming here, right, Claudia? Yes, no. So on the last part here, n minus r factorial, a factor in n minus 1 factorial. And I'll be left with r plus n minus r. What would happen in here? What would happen in here? It would just be n, right? So now you have this. What is n by n minus 1 factorial? The rule there. N by n minus 1 factorial is? What this is? This is n c r. That's it. What is this divided by this? That is the same thing. The term before divided by the term after is this. I just get the term on top. N factorial divided by n minus 1 factorial, n factorial is n, I mean. So this divided by this is n minus r. Right? So watch finish. When I reach here now, I factor out n minus 1 factorial. This simplifies to be n. And from rule number 2, this by this is n factorial. And then from rule number 5, this is this. That's okay. Copy it down. I'm gonna give you one more. Question online. Copy this names. All the names here. Everybody with the name here. Copy it down and let's try one more. Chelsea, you okay with us? Chelsea? You okay with us? Anybody write answer? Okay, last one. Please, last one. Please. Hurry up, now come. Please. Last one. Hurry up. Last one, simplify it all the way down, right? I'll push you. Hurry up. Right, it should be in terms of NCR, right? Something like that, N minus one CR or something. It should be in terms of that. Who denominator? One? Right, something. Right? What you'll factor out? Factor out n minus r plus 1 factorial and r factorial, right? We have n on top, so don't forget that. When I multiply this by n minus r plus 1 by r factorial, the r will cancel. And technically, when you divide this by this will cancel with the factorial sign. So you'll end up with n minus r plus 1 factorial. Sorry, by n factorial. Right? The r's will cancel here, and this entire term cancel with the factorial sign. You can remember it like that if you want. Watch it here again. Watch it here again. When I multiply by n minus r plus 1 factorial by r factorial, this will cancel. And then this factorial here will cancel with this factorial sign, leaving it with r. So that's an easy way to remember it as well. What do I do when I reach here? Factor out the n factorial. So I'll get n minus r plus 1 plus r all over n plus 1 minus r factorial, r factorial. What will happen with the r in here? What will happen with the r in there? Cancel, right? So you'll be left with n factorial by n plus 1 all over n minus r plus 1 factorial. Right. What is n plus 1 by n factorial? What is n plus 1 by n factorial? Right? If you're not seeing this, think of it like this. What is n multiplied by n minus 1 factorial? What will that be? Right? So if you're not seeing it right away, what you can do is add it in here, right? Add it as a rule. I can add it in as a rule so you remember it. Right? So n factorial by n plus 1 is n plus 1 factorial. Watch this here. You will not see the NCR if you leave the 1 there. What you can do is bring the 1 next to the n. And now you might see the NCR. Anybody can tell me what's the NCR? Look at this. N plus 1, see? Yeah. That's okay. So you had to put the plus 1 here. How you know that? It's because the numerator is n plus 1. Everybody okay with that? So in case you all got lost here, write this rule down, right? This equals to this. Okay? That's it. Right? On the group, I just given it 3 to try. And then we move on to arrangement. Try those, right? Okay. All right. So that's it. And see how this doesn't come a lot, but I just wanted to see it, you know, to handle. Right? Next we do arrangement. Right? You're gonna look through that stuff. You know, do that. This is combination. This is arrangement. All right, so that's it there. That's it. This is when I use this in full. I don't like that's it there.
After this.
Okay, log out.
No, 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 it's-